The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. You see, they were going through a Great Depression. War was looming on the horizon. And Mr. Roosevelt was there to do what? To calm a nation. To help that nation come to grips with fear. There was fear of what was going on through the Depression. I mean, people were starving. People had lost everything. On the day that the stock market crashed, there were people jumping out of buildings and out of windows, committing suicide because everything that they had was gone. And the future did not look very bright. And again, at this point, they could see war looming in the future. They didn't know how long, but they could see what was happening in Europe. So Mr. Roosevelt said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And that's true. Jesus is even greater than Mr. Roosevelt. And Jesus says many times that fear is not something we should be driven by. I'd like to give you a couple verses, if you would. Romans 8:15. For you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received a spirit of adoption when we cry, Abba, Father. We talked about the Abba a while back. We're not to be fearful. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. We're not to be cowards. We're not to be living in fear. We're to what? Have self-discipline, trusting in God, putting our hands in Him. 1 John 4:18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not reached perfection in love. God is not punishing us. God is not trying to bring fear upon us. He wants us to have grace in perfect love. Perfect love casts all that out. If we will love one another as we are supposed to, if we will love God with all of our heart, our mind, and our soul, then fear will leave us. We should have no fear. Again, doesn't mean we can't be apprehensive about some things. Doesn't mean that we're kind of a little apprehensive about the unknown. But God goes with us. I pray today that we'll remember the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. There is nothing happening that hasn't happened before at some point in history. We've been through a depression. We're at depression level numbers in many ways right now economically. And this has hurt many people. But also we have been through pandemics through this world before. There were the Great Plagues, 1918. We read about that history. There were millions. And the good thing is they didn't have much of the technology. They didn't have the medical abilities that we have now. Thank God we have those things. God is with us. Let's not fear, but let's look to perfect love, and that's God. I pray today that God would continue to bless and keep you this day and all.